love the Ravens as much as we do, then buckle up. Because this stretch of the season is about to get wild. Baltimore is fighting their way back. And the team that once looked buried at 1-5 now feels like they're waking up at just the right time. You can feel the swagger coming back. The energy on both sides of the ball starting to click again. And now, as they stare down another divisional showdown, it's becoming crystal clear that these games aren't just about standings or stats. They're about sending a message across the AFC North when it comes to division matchups. Throw the records out the window. None of that matters when teams like Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore line up. These games have history, emotion, bad blood, and bragging rights all tied into one. Look at the Bills and Dolphins. It doesn't matter who's hot that week. When those helmets clash, it's a dogfight. Every single time. And that's exactly what this upcoming game is shaping up to be for the Ravens. This one means everything. Get back to 500, put yourself back into the division race, and show the rest of the conference that Baltimore is not done yet. This team's been on a mission lately, beating Chicago, Miami, and Minnesota wasn't just about adding numbers to the win column. It was about proving that the Ravens still have that championship DNA. 2 of those victories came on the road, which makes it even more impressive. Winning away from home in the NFL isn't easy, especially when your season's already hanging by a thread. But the Ravens handled their business, and now the next challenge comes with massive implications. If you're going to make the playoffs this year, it's going to be through the AFC North crown. This division is too tight, too competitive. You can't count on a wild card saving you. You've got to take it outright. And that means taking down the Browns. And what makes this stretch so fascinating is that quirky twist in the schedule. Baltimore finishes both meetings with Cleveland before even facing Pittsburgh or Cincinnati once. It's like the universe is saying, prove yourself right now. These are the games that define a season. The ones that show who's built for January football. The Ravens have the talent. They've got the coaching and they've got the leadership. But the biggest difference lately, it's not just about star power anymore. This has turned into a complete team effort. Lamar Jackson is back to being the electric, unpredictable force that can take over any game. He looks comfortable again, moving the ball, controlling the tempo, and letting his playmakers shine. But what's really stood out these past few weeks is the growth from the young guys, especially rookie safety Malachi Starks. Remember earlier in the season when everyone was ready to call him a bust after just a few games? Yeah, not anymore. That kid's been balling out. It's wild how fast narratives can change in the NFL. Early on, Malachi looked lost. The speed of the game was catching up to him, and the criticism was loud. But that's the thing about rookies. They need time, just like Kyle Hamilton a couple of years ago, who also struggled at first and now has become one of the top defensive players in the entire league. It takes patience, it takes reps, and it takes confidence. Malachi stuck with it, kept grinding through practice, kept watching film, and the results have started to show. Over the last 2 weeks alone, according to PFF, he's graded out above 92, allowing just 2 catches for 10 yards. With 2 interceptions and a passer rating allowed under 17, that's elite. Even Kyle Hamilton himself had to jump in to defend his teammate, calling out the critics and reminding everyone that it's okay for a rookie to take more than 7 games to adjust to the NFL. He said, Malachi's progressing just fine. He's 21, but plays like he's been in the league for a decade. He's back there making calls, encouraging teammates, leading by example. Exactly what you want from a young safety. That's huge praise coming from a guy like Hamilton, who's become one of the emotional anchors of this defense. He even said after the game, Malachi's just getting started. You can see it in his eyes. He's going to be a problem for offenses down the stretch. And honestly, you can see why the coaching staff and the veterans have been so high on him. The poise he's showing lately, that calm in the chaos, that's what separates a raw athlete from an NFL player. The first few weeks, you could tell he was thinking too much, trying to do everything by the book. Now, he's trusting his instincts. He's reading plays quicker, reacting smoother, and playing with that confidence that only comes from putting in the work. You don't make those kinds of plays by accident. That's a product of studying the film, locking in at practice, and understanding how to translate what you see into execution. When you watch the tape, you can actually see him slow the game down. He's reading quarterbacks, tracking route combinations, and positioning himself perfectly to take away big plays. That interception he had against Minnesota, That was all instincts and preparation. He trusted his technique, jumped the route, and made it look easy, and the best part, you can tell the veterans are feeding off his energy. When a young guy steps up like that, it lifts the entire unit. It brings that spark back. Part of what's helped Malachi settle in has been the Ravens' defensive adjustments. After the bye week, bringing in Alohi Gilman to stabilize the secondary has freed up both Malachi and Kyle Hamilton to play faster and more creatively. That three-safety look Baltimore loves to run is finally starting to click again. When you've got multiple guys who can communicate and cover ground, it opens up deception. Malachi's no longer stuck just playing deep center field every snap now. He can disguise coverages, move around pre-snap, and bait quarterbacks into mistakes. That's what we saw against Minnesota. That's what makes this defense dangerous again. You can see it in the chemistry too. There's trust back there now. Gilman's presence means everyone's more relaxed, more confident in their roles. Malachi doesn't have to worry about overcompensating or second-guessing. He can play free, and when a young player feels that comfort, that's when their athleticism really shines. That's when the game slows down and everything starts to click. And all of this progress from the rookie class is coming at the perfect time, because Baltimore needs every bit of help they can get. The schedule doesn't get easier from here. The Browns, the Bengals, the Steelers, every single one of those matchups matters. This is the gauntlet. And the Ravens have to walk through it if they want to be taken seriously again. But this isn't the same shaky team from early in the season. The vibe has completely shifted. The energy's different. They've rediscovered that grit that makes Baltimore football special. You watch how they're tackling now, how they're swarming to the ball, how they're finishing drives. It feels like a team that's starting to believe in itself again. And yeah, there's still a long road ahead. But if they keep building on what they've done these last few games, the Ravens are going to be a problem for anyone standing in their way. Because this isn't just about surviving the schedule anymore. This is about reclaiming an identity. It's about getting back to the tough, physical, no-nonsense football that the Ravens have always been known for, and with Lamar leading the way, the defense finding its rhythm, and young stars like Malachi stepping into their own, it's hard not to feel like something special might be brewing in Baltimore again. And just when things were starting to settle down, the news hit. Former Ravens cornerback Hyire Alexander is stepping away from football. Yeah, that one caught a lot of people off guard. Hyire had only just made the move to Philadelphia after that trade, looking for a fresh start and a new opportunity. And now word breaks that he's focusing on his physical and mental health. At only 28 years old, he's even considering retirement. That's heavy, man. You never want to see something like that, especially for a player who still had so much left in the tank. Hyire's story has always been one of crazy athletic talent mixed with a ton of bad luck. When he's healthy, there's no question he's one of the top 15 corners in the league. The instincts, the speed, the swagger, it's all there, but the injuries have been relentless, and sometimes it's not even about one big hit or a torn ligament, it's the repeated grind. The nagging issues that start to mess with your head as much as your body. Once that confidence in your body slips, once you start wondering if you can still move the way you used to, everything changes. And that's the part a lot of people don't understand about pro athletes. It's not just about being tough, it's about believing your body will respond when you push it. When that belief starts to fade, it's almost impossible to play the same way. You could see it when Hyire suited up for Baltimore. That game against Buffalo was rough. He didn't look like himself, didn't move with the same quickness or aggression. It was like watching a version of him that wasn't fully there, and that's not a knock on his effort. It's just reality from a coaching and performance standpoint. There's frustration too. You train so hard to get back from injury, but if the mechanics that caused the problem in the first place don't get fixed, you end up right back where you started. Poor movement patterns, bad rehab habits, they can rob an athlete of their explosiveness, and that's what seemed to happen to Hyire. His body never fully caught up with his mind. He wanted to go full throttle again, but something just wasn't clicking. It's sad because football careers are short enough already. And when your body betrays you, that window closes fast. The Ravens moved on, and honestly, it looks like both sides needed the reset. Baltimore's secondary has held up with guys like Chidobe Awuzie stepping up huge, and young corners like TJ Tampa getting more reps and showing real promise. It's that next man up mentality the Ravens have always been built on. You can't dwell on who's gone. You have to focus on who's here and ready to play, but it's still tough news. You hope Hyire finds peace with whatever decision he makes, whether that means getting back on the field one day or walking away on his own terms. Mental and physical health have to come first. That's something we're seeing more and more players take seriously, and honestly, it's good to see. These guys aren't machines. They carry an insane amount of pressure, and sometimes stepping back is the bravest move of all. Meanwhile, the Ravens' attention is fully locked on what's ahead for wins. 5 losses. This team is clawing their way back, but they're not out of the woods yet. The mission is simple: get to 500. Every coach, every player in that building knows it, and the next step comes with Cleveland standing in the way. Division games are never easy, especially when you've got to face a monster like Myles Garrett. That man is a nightmare for offensive linemen. If Ronnie Stanley isn't fully healthy, it could be a long afternoon for Lamar. Garrett's the kind of guy who can wreck a game plan all by himself, and the Ravens know it. That's why this one's not just another matchup. It's personal. It's a test of toughness. Baltimore still remembers last season's heartbreaks against Cleveland, the missed interception by Kyle Hamilton that could have sealed it, the offensive line getting bullied late in the game. Those moments stick with you. And now, with the Browns playing confident football, it's about revenge and redemption. But this version of the Ravens feels a little different. The defense has found its identity again. They're flying to the ball, closing running lanes, forcing turnovers. You can tell there's pride back in that unit, and the offense, even though it's still a work in progress, is starting to show balance. Pancake Pat McCarry has brought some grit to that line, and the run game, especially with Derek Hill bouncing runs outside, is giving defenses something new to think about. The Ravens are starting to find rhythm in those little details that make a big difference over 4 quarters. Still, there's one thing missing: that signature Lamar Jackson run. You know, the one when he breaks the pocket, makes the defenders miss, and reminds everyone he's still one of the most dynamic athletes in football. We've seen flashes of it, like in the Buffalo game, but not the full version yet. Maybe the coaching staff is saving it, or maybe Lamar's just picking his moments carefully. Either way, it feels like one of those highlight runs is coming, and when it does, it could spark this whole team. So yeah, Colin Cowherd might be onto something when he says the Ravens are still one of the most dangerous teams in football, regardless of their record. He ranked them 7th in his power rankings and made it clear: don't judge Baltimore by the standings. This team averages 30 points a game and over 6 yards per play when Lamar's out there. Against NFC opponents, they've been almost unbeatable. That tells you the talent is there. The coaching is there, and as long as they stay healthy, they're built for a playoff run. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers are swirling through the NFL world, and this time, they center around one of the league's brightest stars, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens franchise quarterback. A 2-time MVP and face of the franchise could be on the move. Nothing is official, but the chatter has grown too loud to ignore, from locker room murmurs to insider leaks. The rumor mill is churning with talk that Jackson's time in Baltimore may be nearing its end. Sources close to this situation suggest tension has quietly been building behind the scenes. Jackson, long praised for his loyalty and leadership, is reportedly frustrated with internal dynamics and the direction of the offense. Some insiders claim he's grown weary of carrying the team on his shoulders. Without enough support around him, others point to potential friction with the front office, contract structures, offensive philosophy, and perhaps even creative control. Meanwhile, teams across the league are said to be monitoring the situation closely. Executives from quarterback-hungry franchises are already daydreaming about what adding Jackson could mean for their future. A player of his caliber rarely becomes available, especially one still in his prime. Even a hint that Baltimore might be open to discussions has agents, scouts, and GMs buzzing behind closed doors. The Ravens, for their part, have remained tight-lipped. Official statements stress their commitment to Jackson, but the silence from his camp has only fueled speculation. Could this be posturing? A strategic move in an ongoing power play? Or is something deeper happening behind the purple and black curtain? Whatever the truth, this story has gripped the football world. Jackson's name has been synonymous with Baltimore since his electrifying debut, and imagining him in another uniform feels almost unreal. Yet, as history has shown, in the NFL, Loyalty can shift overnight, for now. It's just a rumor, but one that's growing louder by the hour, leaving fans and analysts wondering if the unthinkable might soon become reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.